And with that, I would like to welcome you to our first session on exploring Elsevier Open Access Publishing, your gateway to seamless publishing with the EOAP platform for authors. Ballard, I would now like to hand over to you. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Eva. Thank you for the excellent introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone from wherever you're joining. To start with, thank you for this opportunity to show you the open access journey for our authors in specific. We'll also cover the open access journey for our institutions as part of this session. So to start with, for the recording purpose, I would like to introduce myself again. So my name is Bharat Aradjila. I'm the Senior Business Development Manager for Open Access at Elsevier, and I lead the implementation of open access publishing agreements in Europe as well as North America. To start with, so we have an agenda for the session today. So I would like you to first go through the agenda, and we will look into each of these points in detail in the upcoming slides. So we will be covering the eligibility criteria. I think this is an important factor for our authors. So what makes you eligible for the deal and Elsevier agreement? Number two is general category definitions. And this is just brief definitions about the various categories we have. Then you have article type definitions, and this is also about the article types that are included or eligible for the agreement. And there's key definitions about the various terminologies that we will use as part of this session. So it's important to understand that. And then we will jump into the author journey, which is the primary focus for the session today. And also we will touch briefly upon the institutional journey as well, where your librarians or administrators at your institutions validate the eligibility of the authors for the agreement. So let's make a start. So eligibility criteria, and this is an important one because you can see this few parameters that we use to match you as an author to the deal and Elsevier agreement. The first one is the acceptance date. So the acceptance date is the date the journal accepts your article for publication. So this is after the peer review process. The journal says, "Dear author, we have accepted your article for publication." And this is the date we determine to determine the eligibility of the author for the agreement. So how does this work in conjunction with the agreement? So for example, so your institutions, so we've started this agreement starting 1st September 2023, and we have large number of institutions joining 1st January 2024. So let's say your institution starts on 1st October 2023 as part of the agreement. Your article must be accepted on or after 1st October 2023 to be eligible for the agreement. And that's what the first line item denotes here. And then author affiliation. And here the corresponding author must be affiliated with a participating institution in the deal agreement. And this goes in line with the first item as well. So your institution needs to be participating, and you as an author needs to be a submitting corresponding author on the article. So we'll look into that definition as well in detail. So what the submitting corresponding author means in the upcoming slides. Then we jump onto the journal. So of course, there's a list of journals that are part of the agreement. And so the list of journals are, so we have defined that into core, hybrid, self-press, Lancet, and fully gold open access journals. They're part of the agreement. A link to the eligible titles are also available on the resources, which Eva has mentioned earlier in the slide deck. Then you have article types. There is standard 12 article types where Elsevier offers open access, and that your article needs to be one of those article types. So we'll look at that in the upcoming slide. Apologies. So first, jump on to the key definitions here. So key definitions are, like I mentioned, definitions just to explain the terminologies as part of the session today. So submitting corresponding author. This is the author who submits the article to Elsevier and who stays in contact with Elsevier in the end-to-end journey. So effectively, this is the author who is submitting the manuscript and staying in touch with Elsevier from the point of submission to end of the acceptance journey. So for us, every article has one corresponding author, one submitting corresponding author, and this submitting corresponding author needs to be affiliated with the participating institution in the agreement. So then acceptance date, and this is the date, as we mentioned, needs to fall within the start date and the agreement period of your institution. So the date the journal accepts the article for publication is called as the acceptance date. Then you have Elsevier Open Access platform. This is mainly for the institutions and the administrators. So where it's basically an interface which your institutions use to validate the eligibility of you as a researcher, as an author under the agreement. So we'll look at that briefly in the upcoming slides. And then Gold Open Access. The Gold Open Access terminology is at the article level. So you could have a Gold Open Access article in a hybrid journal. A hybrid journal will offer both open access as well as subscription, and an open access journal only, of course, offers Gold Open Access. So that's just a terminology that you need to be aware of. So let me this. I also wanted to show you the article types briefly on which standard article types are part of the agreement. And this is our box standard. Elsevier offers open access only for these article types in hybrid journals as well. So that aligns nicely with what's part of the agreement. So this is just showing you. So of course, we have research articles, there's reviews, case reports, short communication, and there's various definitions of, you can see, micro article protocols, replication studies, short surveys. There's also video article, which is eligible for the agreement. All right. So now we will look at journal category definitions. This is also following a sequence here, just to make you understand this from the point of an author, from the point of an agreement. So here you can see which journals are included in the agreement. So we talked about core hybrid journals, Cellpress and Lancet, and Gold Open Access journals, and non-eligible journals are journals that are not eligible for the agreement. So core hybrid is effectively hybrid journals that are published by Elsevier. That could either be Elsevier own journals or also some of the society journals. And there's Cellpress and Lancet portfolio. That is all of the hybrid journals we have under Cellpress and Lancet. And that's also part of the agreement. And Gold Open Access journals. So this is where all of the journal only offers open access as part of their publishing options. And we have regular Elsevier Gold Open Access journals. There's also Cellpress and Lancet fully gold journals part of the agreement. So now we jump on to the author journey. So hopefully that gave you an introduction of the various terminologies, the eligibility criteria of the agreement as an author. So now we will look at how the post-acceptance author journey looks like for an author. So I specifically say post-acceptance author journey because this comes in after acceptance. So you as a corresponding author have submitted your article to Elsevier. Your article has gone through the peer review process and the journal has accepted your article for publication. So the post-acceptance journey kicks in just after acceptance of your article. So basically you receive a congratulatory email from the journal. Congratulations, dear author, we've accepted your article for publication. Now please go through the link and give us your publishing options choice. And there's a link in that communication which brings you as an author or a submitting corresponding author to the screen which you're seeing on my screen at the moment. So this is where you can see the finalized publishing your article. So this is after the article has been accepted for publication. And this is a unique link as a researcher. So for your article in particular. So what you can see at the top is the article title, so which has been blurred for obvious reasons in this case. Then you can see corresponding author's email address. And that is, of course, you who is completing the journey on behalf of your author group. Then you have a journal title, so in this case, International Journal of Pharmaceutics. And there's also reference numbers that is unique to your article. Then you have welcome, Dr. Professor so-and-so. So then there is a call to action very clear to the author. So complete the rights and access form. And this is what you need to complete as part of your post-acceptance journey to identify yourself as an eligible author under the agreement. And there is some information under help and support, and the process is pretty straightforward. So hopefully you don't need to go into those details, but it is there to support you to complete the author journey. So once you click on complete the rights and access form, so what happens is, so the first thing we ask is the affiliation of the corresponding author. So this is the submitting corresponding author, just to be clear. So at the top, you can track the progress of the post-acceptance journey. And you can also continue to see your article title and your name and email address as an author. And in this case, there's a drop-down search. What would usually happen is we've already received all of the affiliation information during submission from you when you submitted your manuscript. So we auto-populate all of the affiliation details into the journey. So however, you could still select a department or a faculty if you wish to. However, in this case, on the left-hand side as well, we try to mention that this is pre-populated from the submission process. So in this case, I'm going with Max Planck Society as an author who is affiliated to that institution. And remember, go back to my eligibility criteria slide. The submitting corresponding author needs to be affiliated with the participating institution. And let's assume for the sake of this demo that an author is truly affiliated with Max Planck Society in this case. So then we move on to co-authors. Again, co-authors, there could be a lot of co-authors. And in this case, I've just gone with one co-author in this case. So all of this information, like the corresponding author information, is auto-populated into the post-acceptance journey. However, you can make changes if you wish to the co-author list. However, note that what matters for the agreement eligibility is the corresponding author's affiliation. So co-author's affiliation does not impact the eligibility of the article for the agreement. So just to show you that difference, I've gone with a co-author who is based in Belgium in this case. Okay, so we hit on save and continue. Then we come on to a question. So did the research in this article receive funding? So in other words, were you funded to perform your research by any of your funders or an institution? And this is an optional question. So you can say no and skip this question. But if you have received funding, then please provide that information. So by clicking on yes, you can add the funded details. Again, this is auto-populated from the submission process. You just need to verify that is correct. And if it is incomplete, please feel free to add additional information or additional funders, additional grant numbers. You have the capability to do that as part of the screen. So just to mention it again, so what matters for the agreement eligibility is the affiliation of the corresponding author. The funding is not relevant. However, it might be a factor for your institution to confirm your eligibility as an author for the agreement. All right, we move on to save and continue. So now you can see we are coming to the main page of publishing options. So what we are looking at now is publishing options in a hybrid journal. A hybrid journal offers open access as well as subscription. So here you can see what we have done. Of course, the preference is for you to go with the open access publishing option, but as an author, you have the choice to go with either open access or subscription under the agreement. Hence, we offer both the options. And here you can see for gold open access, we state the language here so that you are affiliated with Max Planck Society, and your publishing fee is covered under the agreement between Deal Consortium and Elsevier. So there is also some conditions here. So in other words, only submitting corresponding authors are eligible, so which I think is very clear to us from the start. And you need to make sure the affiliation on the manuscript and what you're putting in need to match. And some institutions may pass on some of the publishing fees to you as an author. So this is just information upfront to you as an author. And on the right-hand side, so there is a deal agreement specific fee of, for this year, it's let's say 2,500 euros. And then the agreement will cover full of that amount. There is also article publishing charge. So this is, if I zoom this in a little bit so you can see this clearly. So in case your institution cannot verify your affiliation. So let's say if you are not eligible for the agreement, then in a hybrid journal, you have a choice to either pay the full article publishing charge, or you can publish open subscription free of charge outside the agreement. And so this is a hybrid journal, right? So you might be wondering, we are showing gold open access option. We also offer subscription option in case you don't want to publish open access. And here you can see a particular message stating that please contact Deal Elsevier Publishing if you do not wish to publish open access. And this request will then come over to us. And based on your confirmation, then we will publish the article under subscription, if that is what your choice is. All right. So the fee is standard for a hybrid journal. So it might vary. It will vary for Cellpress and Lancet journals for hybrids. Whereas for open access journals, so it is on the list price, the list article publishing charge. I've also shown a screen of that here. So you can see in gold open access journals, so it will be the list price of the journal. And then that's fully covered. Of course, there is no subscription option in gold open access journals. So as an author, you have only one option to publish with gold. So then we come on to the license page. So license page. So if you choose gold open access, you need to select a license. In this case, you can go with either CC-BY or CC-BY NCND licenses. So as an author, so just to show a preference towards a license, so we work very closely with Deal, with our agreement partner on this, and CC-BY license is pre-selected, and there is a preference towards you selecting the CC-BY license. But we respect author's choice. We also offer CC-BY NCND to you. So then you go with CC-BY license, then you have come to the copyrights page. So the copyrights page is standard language across all of the Elsevier published articles. So you can see I've gone with the default choices that you are the corresponding author who is signing on behalf of all of the authors. So I've moved these choices, click on save and continue. Then you can see standard journal publishing license agreement. And this is, again, standard language, depending on the license you choose. So this varies slightly, but this is the agreement that we show, not just for Deal. So this is for every published article at Elsevier. So you need to go through the journal publishing license agreement. And at the bottom, you can agree to the terms of the license agreement. So once you click on that, you can accept the agreement and move forward. And now you can see we're almost at the final stages of the author journey, and where we specifically state, I call this a summary page. This is also a review order page where we summarize your choices as a corresponding author. So you can see Gold Open Access option, a CC BY license that you chose as an author. And on the right-hand side, you are publishing under the deal Elsevier agreement, and we continue to show the price box just to make it clear that there's an agreement in place. And clicking on finish will complete the author journey. There is some important things as an author that you need to understand as well. So just before we jump onto the institutional journey. So what happens when you click on finish as an author? So what happens is that you as a corresponding author and also co-authors receive a copy of this email. So there is full transparency across the author group on the choices the corresponding author has made on behalf of the author group. Then the administrator at the institution will receive a notification for validation within 48 hours of you clicking on finish. And then they have got 3 weeks time to validate the request, validate the eligibility of the author. So if they approve the request, you will receive full APC coverage. So in case if they reject the request in a hybrid journal, then you have a choice to publish open access from your own costs, or you can publish subscription free of charge. In Gold Open Access journals, you will receive a full price invoice. So that ends the author journey. So I know you might have some questions now, so we have separate time at the end to go through those questions in detail, but please feel free to put those questions in the chat box or hold them for the Q&A session. So we'll also look at the institutional journey briefly. So I won't go into the details. Of course, this is concerning the librarians, but as an author, it's good for you to understand how the institutional journey works as well. So from institutional journey perspective, so we have already onboarded your institutions that have participated in the agreement, and they have access to Elsevier Open Access platform. We call this EOAP, so where they can log in and validate your eligibility as an author. So what happens? So we talked about once you complete the author journey within 48 hours, the administrator receives a request in their mailbox saying so-and-so author has completed the journey. Please validate the eligibility of the author. And they can log in into EOAP using the login credentials. They'll have all of these views where they can check the requests, they can check reporting, account settings. They can also see their usage as an institution. So we'll just look at how the validation process looks like in brief. So here you can see APC. So they can actually see all of the details from the article itself. So they can see the article title. So they can see institution name, where you're coming from, and the author name and author email address. And then also see information about the prices that is specific. So there is a standard price for hybrids, and for gold, it depends on the journal, of course. The list price is differing per journal, and then so that will be shown to the author. So with all of the details you have provided, including the funder information, the grant number information is shown to the author, and also showed to the administrator, apologies. And then they can approve or reject the request in EOAP. So they can choose to notify you from the system and approve the request. In most of the cases, of course, we're quite good at matching the authors to the agreement. So please be assured, we would only show the agreement to you in first case when you are eligible for the agreement. And they can approve the request, and you will receive this notification. Of course, the maximum time is 3 weeks from that 48-hour period for you to receive the notification. So this is just a notification, shows how. So we are pleased to inform you so-and-so institution has confirmed your affiliation. So please note, they are not validating the publication of open access. They are validating your eligibility as the author for the agreement. And this is just showing you for various reasons for rejection. So they could also reject the request. So if you do not meet certain criteria, and that's just showing you that path, and then you will receive a notification if there has been any rejections. So this is just showing you again a way to download reports. So the administrators can download the data that is required, that's relevant. So just in case they need to have everything in one place. So this is going to reports, and then that ends the institutional journey as well. So on top of this, we have gone through just an introduction briefly about the agreement. So we've gone through the author journey, institutional journey, and now so we can have a Q&A. So please feel free to unmute yourself or put your questions in the chat box.